So hello guys, what's up and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me, your girl barrister Neze, and this is Nezeville. So some days ago I came across this video of a young man in a very heated argument with this lady, a lady who turns out to be his brother's wife. In this confrontation of theirs, we had this woman, this lady, yelling at the man to leave their house, to leave her husband's house. And we could also hear the young man, who was the one filming, by the way, retorting and standing on the ground, standing on his feet, that he will not leave the house, that is his brother's house. He was like, leave this house for what? Look at this small girl of yesterday that my brother went to marry. I told my brother not to marry this girl. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a hot mess.
This is my
don't every morning, this can't allow me rest. Every morning, what did I do to you?
This is my husband's house.
3 days, not him have to
Come on.
I will not go.
You don't have to go and rent an apartment. You know you are
You don't you know what I
go and rent and I don't fucking care.
You don't fucking care.
Go and rent your
Don't you know what I went through?
How can you be staying in my husband's house? A full-grown man like you, you have to leave. You cannot be sitting here. You are tired.
You is one mother.
Yes.
I want my brother to have a kind of woman. I want my brother. Maybe matter with this condition, is where, but I know I will bounce back. I will definitely bounce back.
You see, this issue of in-law brawl and rivalry is a very big issue in our society. When I say our society, I mean the African society. Permit me to call it a domestic plague. And it has been one of the leading causes of marital disintegration, marital collapse in Africa. In-law feuds and in-law interference. This kasala among in-laws mostly happens between the wife and her husband's people, her husband's brothers, her husband's sisters, her husband's mother. And it is expected that it flows in that direction because of the dynamics of our society, the way our society is set up, right? You wouldn't see a wife's sister march into her sister's home, her sister's marital home, and start to give the man problem. The man would easily tell the wife, if I come back from work and I see your sister in this house, I'ma kick her out. I'ma throw her out from the fence. And the wife will tell her sister to leave. Neither in the whole history of my entire life have I seen a wife's brother coming to fight the husband to inherit his sister's property, just as we have it when the coin is flipped. The only stage where a man may get resistance or clashes with his in-laws, with his wife's people, is during that phase of marriage. The bride price, the money they give me to pay is too much, and that is the only phase. After that marriage phase, the man is at liberty to take his wife to his house, and that's where the boundary of her family stops. Any potential fracas with her family can either be controlled, totally avoided, or mitigated. But for the women, it's different. The women are the ones coming into the husband's family. They are the ones that have to integrate. They are the ones that would face the clash of interests, the clash of positions, and possible resistance. So let us talk about this. Now, if you do not know, let me be the first to tell you, if you do not know already, the relationship that a woman will ever have with her husband's family will be first determined by the husband, by the man. He is the one that will set the tone of the relationships. He is the one that would establish the boundaries. He is the one that would make everybody know their place from the onset. And if he sets the wrong tone or foundation for that relationship, either from the wife's side or from his family side, it is an action, a decision, an error that he would have to live with for the rest of his life. He would never recover from the outcome, and he may never experience peace between his old family. When I say old family, I mean his parents, his siblings, and his new family, in quotes. When I say new family, I mean his wife and his children. How he manages and blends in that old family and the new family will form the trajectory at which that in-law relationship will flow. And it takes a lot of maturity and wisdom. How? Number one, how do you present your wife before your family? And how do you present your family before your wife? That presentation that you have of your wife to your family will determine how they would treat her, how they would view her, how they will rate her, the respect, the level of respect that will be accorded to her, and vice versa. And it's simple. If you have a piece of cloth, if I get this piece of cloth and I drop it on the floor by the toilet side, people will step on it and use it to clean their feet and mop the floor. But if I take this piece of cloth and I hang it in my cabinet, in my closet, anybody that wants it will want to wear it, will take care of it, would wash it clean, and will return it. So it depends on placement and the value that you have awarded and accorded that person in the presence of the other. So where and how do you place your wife before your family? Are you the type that scolds her and embarrass her and talk to her anyhow in front of your family so they can see that you are the man, you are in charge, you are in control? You talk harshly to her, you embarrass her, and you expect your family to respect her? That cannot be. They will naturally flow and take in your footsteps. Or are you the type that reports your wife to your family? Every mistake that your wife makes, everything your wife does, you report it to your own family. Come on, it's common sense. I think there are some things that you don't learn in marriage class. There's some things that you don't need a lecturer to tell you. It is common sense that when your wife is erring, you report her to her own family. If she doesn't have a responsible family, you report her to someone that she accounts to. Maybe a relation, an aunt, her godparents, whatever. But you report your spouse to your spouse's side. You know why? Because there is nothing that you would tell a mother of her daughter that would make that mother hate her child. Her mother would caution her, but will still love her. But when you start reporting your wife to your own family, they will naturally despise her, because that's how human beings are. If you tell your family that your wife did 10 good things and you tell them one bad thing, they would hold on to that one bad thing. It's just like those that watch football. You have a goalkeeper that caught 20 goals but missed 2 goals. People will talk more about those goals that were missed. That is how human beings are engineered. So are you the kind of man that goes around tarnishing your wife's image and reputation in the presence of your family? You are diminishing her worth and the way they place and value her and the love that they would have for her. Again, under this point of how do you present your wife before your family? Are you the type that defends her, or you're the type that joins the bandwagon to drag her with your family? Maybe your mother comes to you and starts complaining. Chukunonso, your wife did this. Your wife has not called me. Your wife went home. She didn't even tell me that she has gotten home. Your wife, where I lost my uncle, your wife didn't even call to say, sorry, mama. Your wife, because no human being is perfect. No matter how much you comport yourself, there might be 1 or 2 things that you will slip in. You're not a robot. You're not AI. Even AI makes mistakes. So when your family comes with these complaints of your wife merenka, your wife emenka, your wife has done this, your wife didn't do this, how do you handle that criticism? Are you the type that defends your wife first in the presence of your family, protects her, cover her first, then when you go home, you then correct her and say, baby, this thing that you did is not good. This is a better way to do it. Why don't you do it like this? But at that point, when you're with your family, you protect your wife. Your wife has not called me. Mama, she tried though. She tried calling you. Your number didn't connect that day. Don't worry. I will make sure that she calls you. Then you go. Don't mind that woman. I have been telling her, no. You do not drag your wife in the presence of your family. These are the things that spoils and scatters relationships. These men in the middle, because you are the middleman. You are the reason why your mother knows your wife. So you are the middleman. You are the manager of those 2 relationships. And when you understand how complex women can be, especially with relationships, then you will know how to manage relationships. And that is why mothers-in-law are always falling out with daughters-in-law, because that middleman that is supposed to be diffusing, managing, controlling, we see him failing in that responsibility. So it starts with you. Secondly, for the men, who I consider the most important in this subject, it has been said over and over again that it is not advisable to bring in your relations, to come and live with your wife, especially when that marriage, or come and live with you and your wife, especially at the onset of that marriage, when you guys are still trying to find your feet, settled in the marriage, you don't even know yourselves properly first, then adding a third party to come and complicate the integration process. It has been said time and again that is not the best decision, because over familiarity will always bring contempt. Over familiarity would always bring sea finish. So even if they loved your wife at first, or your wife loved your sibling at first, when they stay together for a long time, then they start to discover their flaws. They start to see each other finish, and disputes are bound to come out, because even you that you are married to her, staying with her in the same house, you guys will be misunderstanding each other. You guys will be fighting. But your case is different because it stays between both of you. Unlike the in-law fights that mama will hear it, papa will hear it, village people will hear it, right? So it is not advisable to even start with bringing your relations to come immediately you get married. You bring in your siblings to fill the house with your wife. It is not advisable, especially if you see that they do not get along very well. You have a mother and a wife that are not really close. You know that they don't get along well. So why bring in the mother to come and live with you in the house with that wife? Can Tom and Jerry coexist? Can Tom and Jerry cohabit? You are the one causing trouble for yourself, because you know that they don't get along. You have to limit long contact between them. But then I agree that situations may differ. Circumstances may leave that as the only option. Yes, it is easy for us to say, rent a house for him, but sometimes these men might not be buoyant enough to rent a house for their siblings or for their mother, and they have to stay with them temporarily until they're able to move. First, take note of the word temporal. It should be temporal. And I'm saying this generally. I'm not even saying this for me myself, because I myself, if you know the kind of relationship, my mother-in-law comes to stay in my house 6 months. If she comes to visit me here, I don't mind her staying 1 year, because she's a different kind of person and I'm a different kind of daughter-in-law too. So we blend very well. We match very well. I have adopted her like my mother, and she has adopted me like her daughter. And we are like mother and daughter. But every relationship is not like this. Every mother-in-law is not as easygoing. Every daughter-in-law is not as accommodating. So I'm not going to use my own relationship with my in-laws as a benchmark. Generally, it is not advisable. Okay? But in the event that it has to happen because there is no other option, the man has to set the tone of how it will be. It is the man that would call his sibling and tell him, see, this madam, auntie, or whatever you want to call your wife, auntie, do this. You have to respect my wife. When you wake up in the morning, you have to be useful. You have to contribute. You have to keep the place tidy. You are the one that will set the rules and regulations for your siblings. And if you see them stepping out of line, you should bring them to order. You do not go about making your brother have a bloated and exaggerated belief or assumption of his place in your home. For this boy, I don't even know if this is a skit, because it is almost unbelievable. But for this man, let us just take the lessons behind this, because it happens. Whether this particular video is real or is a skit, these things play out a lot. And if you go to the comment section of this video, you would be shocked at women's experiences. I'm going to read one to you. So for this young man to openly confront his brother's wife, that is to tell you the impression that his brother has given him of his place in that home. He knows that he has the support of his brother. If he knows that he will be mincemeat, if he knows that he would have his brother to contend with, if his brother comes home and hears the way he was battling words with his wife and fighting with his wife, he will not do that. So he has the either direct or implied backing of his brother. That's why I always tell you that it starts and ends with that man, the husband, the brother, the son, the person in question. Take a look at this comment from that video. When I tell you that these things, people are going through it, people are living through it, believe me. This lady said, once upon a time, a brother-in-law beat his younger brother's wife because she refused to borrow him her car due to the fact that he spoiled the car severally and left it unrepaired. He got angry and asked the wife to leave his brother's house that night, or else there will be problem. The husband was away and the wife quietly went to pick her few things because it was in the middle of the night. The brother-in-law said that she's not allowed to pick anything because his younger brother bought everything. The wife insisted on taking few things, and he got angry and started beating the wife with the head of his belt. He beat her from the room to the compound, to the streets, to the next neighbor's compound. This is the brother-in-law beating his brother's wife on the road. Things they occur. You see, for this life, when they tell you that women they see some things for marriage, you will not believe it. You say men too. Yes, men too, but don't, if you're honest with yourself, don't compare the ratio of the shege banza that women see in their marriage, if you want to be honest, in Africa. So this brother-in-law was beating the woman on the streets and with the head of his belt. The wife started bleeding because the belt he used in beating her hooked his trouser button and pierced on the left face close to the eye socket. The neighbors told her to rush to the nearest hospital. This brother-in-law kept on beating her till she got to the gate of the hospital, until the hospital gate was opened for her and the brother-in-law went back to slice the 4 tires of the car. The woman doesn't know that she had a button pierced in her face, and she had the surgery after 1 year of carrying the button in her brother-in-law's trouser from the force of the belt that was hit on her face. Till date, she still lives with that scar on her face. And I was thinking this was just a fictional story until I saw this part. And that wife is me. No matter how long it is, I can't forget that scenario. Would you believe that I went to this lady's page and I saw the mark on her face? So this was not feigned story. This was real. That in her husband's absence, his elder brother, flogged his wife mercilessly to the extent of leaving blood and scars on her body. Can you believe? Are you telling me that this brother, this so-called husband, has been putting this wife in a place of respect and value before that his brother, and that brother will have the effrontery to beat his brother's wife to this extent of wounding her mercilessly? Think about it. If that elder brother knows that when his brother comes back, one of them will enter early grave, he will not do that. He must have seen the rubbish that his brother rates that wife that will give him the liberty and the effrontery to do that. Women, they marry you. Women, they marry. Even if a man is a beast, a maggot, the scum of the earth, Lucifer's elder brother, you will still find one unfortunate woman that will still marry him, thinking that she can change him, or maybe out of desperation. We have discussed about the man, the husband, the person in question, the center of unity between these two people. Let us talk about the brother, or anybody at all living with anybody. In fact, it's high time, it's due that we had this conversation. People living with others. Let's talk. There are ethics and etiquettes of staying with people. Are you aware? Do you know that? Regardless of the relationship, no matter how close you are to that person, be you a son, be it your child, be it your sibling, be it your in-law, there are rules, unwritten rules and regulations when you are living, putting up in somebody's house. And it's either you behave yourself and respect these rules, or you pack your bags and leave. I'm telling you, real life. But the major issue with this particular topic, this particular video we're addressing, is because this man in question, this man that was recording and shouting, does not even believe that it is his brother's wife's house, that the wife has a place in that house. He believes that he has more rights, more standing in that house than that woman. So that one is now problem pro max, because he's not even seeing himself as a guest that should behave himself. You see why I have a problem with men that have this tambolo hair on their chest? To find a man with tambolo hair, those hair like this, those tambolo hair on chest, to find a man with that kind of hair on chest that has sense, now by connection. When you are living in somebody's house, oh, of course they can encourage you to be free, oh, relax, feel at home. Yes, feel at home, but you must remember that that is not your home. For example, in my house, I wouldn't typically, but I can choose to, if I'm not in the mood, to eat and drop my plate in the sink and say maybe I want to shower, or later I'll come back and wash the plates. I can do it in my home, but I cannot do it in somebody else's house because it will not look right. That person will not want to come downstairs or come back from work and see my plate in her sink. I can choose again to be watching Netflix in the parlor, lie down and put my leg on top of the couch and drink juice, and after drinking the juice I will drop the cup or drop my plate on the floor and maybe I will sleep off. When I wake up I will carry that cup to the kitchen. Nobody will beat me. It is my house. But I cannot do that in somebody else's house. I should not do that in somebody else's house, even if it is my brother's house. I have to behave myself and behave like a visitor. I can choose too in my house to wear small bata, small pants if I like. You don't have to wear underwear. Just throw one t-shirt and be roaming up and down with small bata. With small bata in my house. But if I go to my brother's house, maybe he's married, it's decency, it's common sense that I shouldn't just come out with pants or underwear and be roaming around a married man's house. It is not that my brother would get seduced by me. No. But it is just, see, there are ethics. I don't know. Common sense. If people use common sense, there are so many issues that will be avoided. It is not like my brother would, I'm not another woman, I'm his sister, I cannot seduce him. But it is just ethics of living with somebody. You must be sensitive of your behavior when you are staying in somebody's house, no matter your relationship with that person. And that's why some sisters-in-law, they'll be coming, hey, my brother's wife, my brother. But sometimes check yourself. You may have acted out of line. You need to understand that there are some things that you shouldn't do when you are living with your sister-in-law or your brother-in-law or wherever you're living. Playing loud music, bringing in different kinds of friends, coming late hour in and out. You wake up, you don't lay the bed, you just jump out and go to work. You can do that in your house, but you cannot do that in somebody's house. You see husband and wife arguing, maybe, having arguments. You sit down there looking at them like Dundee, from one mouth to another, from husband mouth to wife mouth. No, you don't have sense to know that you will stand up and excuse them. Just press your phone and use style and go away from that place. Secondly, value adding. You are living in somebody's house, whether temporarily or permanently, and you don't add any value to that person. What is this thing that we call love? I love somebody. What is this love? Is love a vacuum? Do you know that love is the value that you bring to somebody's life? It doesn't even have to be financial or material. When a man thinks of how much he loves his wife, he remembers all the things that she does for him. Are you aware? How she cares for him, how she cooks for him, how she pampers him, how she does jiggy bang bang in the other room, how she takes care of him, how she has bore him children. It is what she has done. Nobody does not. The only person that loves anybody without thinking of what they have done for them is a mother to a child. That is the only love that is 1000% unconditional. When a woman thinks of how much she loves her husband, she thinks about how much relief he brings to her, how he cares for her, how he pampers her, how he buys her gifts. Is what you do, the value that you add to someone, that determines their level of affection for you, that makes them endeared to you, that makes them miss you. So you, as an in-law, a brother-in-law, a sister-in-law, a friend, a relation, whatever you are living in somebody's house and the person does not feel any form of relief from your presence or any form of value that you are adding to them. After a while, in the long run, the person would rather you leave. And I'm telling you the truth. I'm not talking about maybe a 2 or 3 day visit. You are living with someone for a long time and you are valueless. The person would rather you leave sooner or later. You're a mother-in-law, you come to visit your daughter-in-law. You see that she's working or she has children, she needs help around, you don't help. You don't help with the children, you don't help in the kitchen, you don't do anything. Instead, you sit down, you raise your leg and you're finding faults, counting number of meats that they gave you, the one your daughter-in-law has done and the one she didn't do, how your son washed plate, how you're there to find. Why would the girl want you in a house? You are a problem for her. You are not an assistant. Instead, you are an additional responsibility and issue for her. She would want you to leave. And you'll be there saying, my daughter-in-law did this, my daughter. Why wouldn't she? My daughter-in-law does not like me. My mother, how will she like you? When you bring no value, you only bring problem. Or you are a relation, you are living with somebody. Cook, you won't help in the kitchen. Clean, you will see somewhere dusty, you will pass. The toilets are messy, you won't lift the finger. You will eat. After eating what the person cooked, you go to your room and lock the door and start pressing phone or playing game, playing laptop. Oh, and you expect the person to want to keep you or be happy to have you? Let us use our senses. You have to contribute wherever you are. And this contribution can either be financial contribution or domestic contribution. If you don't have money, you have hands. If the person is cooking, you can be helping to wash the dishes. If the person is sweeping here, you can be cleaning there. You can help to clean the car. You need to show working in the house. The person does not need to tell you. It could be financial contribution. Okay, you are working, you have a small job. No matter how little it is, even if it's to buy a crate of egg and keep in the kitchen, or the gas finish, you fill it up. If you can't do that, that means you're not an intelligent person. And it takes intelligence to manage relationships. Even in the university, let me give you this example. In the university, maybe you've accommodated somebody, maybe a coursemate or whoever, maybe the person didn't have accommodation and you accommodated that person. And maybe the person has gone for lectures and came back before you. Before you came back, you've seen that this person has tidied the room, maybe helped to wash plates, helped to cook spaghetti, bought 2 bags of pure water, kept in one corner. Won't you be happy with that person? But when you come back from school and you have to be the one to clean the whole house, you're seeing that person there lying down, put leg like this. The person does not do anything. If anything finish in the room, the person will not contribute. If toothpaste finish, the person will not buy. The person will be waiting for you. Tell me, would you want that person to remain in your room? But if the person is contributing, relieving you, adding value, you wouldn't want that person to leave because of the addition that they're bringing to you, because of the relief that they're giving you. That is just life. So if you are an in-law or whoever you are a guest, when you go to somebody's house, instead of being a burden, be a relief, contribute either domestically or financially. Then lastly, for the guests, for the in-laws, please, we need to be very sensitive to know when we have overstayed our welcome. A sensible person knows when they are no longer needed in a place. They do not need to be asked out or embarrassed out. They know when they are not needed. And that's why so many people find themselves in relationships where when they are coming, you see the person that you're in relationship will be like, God. If you are a sensitive person, you will not even get to that phase of any relationship where you become a pest in anybody's life, because you will be able to sense, you'll be able to read the room to know that you have overstayed your welcome and you are no longer welcome in this space. But some people don't even know when they don't want them. Please, let us be able to read the room and perceive energies and know where and when we are needed and where we are not needed, and do the needful, not just for your own self-worth, but also for your brother, for respect in his home. Then for the women, for we daughters-in-law, let me wrap up the video with this. For we daughters-in-law, don't eat me up, but I have 2 pieces of advice for us. First, I would like to encourage us to be more patient and more tolerant with our in-laws. And I'm not talking about this particular situation, because this guy in question has definitely gone out of line. It would be completely impossible for any human being to deal with such an audaciously rude person. I'm talking generally. Many of us get very upset with our in-laws. Oh, when they mess up, when they do this. But if we choose to self-reflect, we would know that our own relations, our own families too mess up sometimes. We're so upset with our mother-in-law for what she did and what she said, but sometimes our mothers too can get out of line, and we're quicker and faster to let our own parents, our own siblings' mistake slide. Your brother's sister is annoying, but our own sisters too can annoy the hell out of us. Oh, she will not do this thing. If it was Ella, my younger sister, she will not do that particular one, but she could do another one that is even worse than what that's your husband's sister did. Your husband's mother did this. Is your own mother perfect? Will you take an extreme decision if it was her? Would you hold the grudge against her for life? Let us calm down for Jesus. I remember one time my own relative stayed with me briefly. I almost ran mad, because men and women can never be the same. I keep saying this thing. The way a man thinks, what is important to him, how he views things is totally different from how a woman. A man now can wake up and do bed like this, and in his mind, he has arranged the room. But the woman will come in and she'll be upset that the room is not arranged. But in the man's mind, he's wondering why this woman is upset because he arranged the room. A man can wash plates, but the surroundings, you'll be mad. You'll be like, why can't you just do this thing perfectly well, completely? Why do I have to do it again after you did it? Why didn't you clean around the sink? Why didn't you put this milk where it's supposed to be? A woman's logic is very different from a man's logic. So if you are very picky about these mistakes, you would always be upset. Let us just try and see some of these shortcomings as though they are coming from our own family. Then the last point, I think it is not very advisable for the woman to be the one to address some certain issues with her in-laws, especially when these issues are major, and especially if you are married to a man that has sense. This boy now, or this man that this woman was openly asking to leave her house, that decision, that order should have come from her husband. She doesn't have any place having that battle, that word exchange with that boy. She's supposed to discuss that with her husband, and they take action together, and her husband will be the one to call the brother and say, okay, you need to go back home. It is not okay. It's not conducive here. Even if they say, it is a wife that influenced, they didn't hear it from your mouth. It will not be as bad as when you are the one shouting and asking your brother, pushing your brother-in-law out of the house, because that would automatically taint and ruin the relationship that you have with your mother-in-law. No mother would like a wife that sent her son out of his brother's house. That's just the truth. No matter what her son did, she will still not start unhappiness for a wife that kicked her son out of his brother's house, even if she could have done the same if the tables were turned, right? And despite how social media makes these younger ladies, girls that are not married, social media makes it seem as though I don't give a damn, I don't care about any relationship with my in-laws, everybody should day their day, if you give me bass I will give you bows. That is social media. In real life, it is good to have a good relationship with your in-laws as far as it depends on you. So I'm not saying that you must kill yourself to be friends with your in-laws, or if they refuse to be your friends you must do this. No, I'm saying it is better to have a good relationship than not to. So if there's a way you can manage that relationship to make it fair and good, it is better you take that route than to have it ruined. Because this kind of action that this woman took is the kind of things that lead to problems, lifelong problems, generational problems, that the woman and her children and the man's family will forever be enemies, and must it be so? Even if you have in-laws living with you, there's some major decisions, some major words that it should be your husband that will tell his family, because no matter what he tells them, remember what I told you, they can never hate him, they can never discard you, but you are the one that is more susceptible to being hated and blamed. So guys, yes, these are my points and this is my reaction to this video. Do let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Share your experiences. For married women here, let us know your experiences with in-laws and how you handle them, how you view them, what you have gone through, good or bad. Drop down in the comment section, and your reaction to this video. How do you think this woman should have handled it, and what do you think is the problem here? How do you think this can be resolved as well? Men can also share their experiences down in the comment section. Let us make this very interactive. Drop all you think down in the comments section. So guys, yes, we have come to the end of today's video. If you're new here, you're seeing me for the first time, or if you've been watching without subscribing, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, give this video a big thumbs up, drop all your comments down in the comments section, and stay glued, for we have so much more coming your way. It's me, your girl barrister Neze, and this is Nezeville. I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye.